and see your face. Got it. Everybody's smiling faces, and we are recording this, so if you are in the witness protection program, you may want to pop your camera off. But otherwise, it is lovely to see you, and yeah. So thank you for that, Trudy, and I believe I'm there. Can you see my screen? Not yet.
Not yet.
Should be here pretty quick.
There it comes. Yep.
There we are. Awesome. So thank you so much for joining me. And this will look a little bit like a presentation because I find that when I get online and I want to do conversation with people, nobody talks. And so I don't think that'll be the case today because I have a presentation, but if at any point in time, you have a question, a comment, a curiosity, aha, just pop it in the chat box and I will come in and comment to that. Okay, does that work for you, Trudy? And of course, you're welcome to jump in at any point in time. So
thank you for that invitation. I probably will.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because I love the back and forthness, and I'm good till like tomorrow. So I got lots of teasing. I can talk.
Thing, this is a good number of people from my community, and most of the people in my community are expressed and have some freedom in communication, especially those that I've been participating with in the Landmarks Team Management and Leadership Program, which is the source of this event. It's from my Game in the World. So, team, I'm counting on you to be engaged and put your hand up. We know that by putting our hand up, that's when we get more magic, miracles. Absolutely. Okay, go ahead, Suze.
So I just want to tell you right now that the law of attraction is working for you. I have people say, I can't get the law of attraction working for me. Folks, it's a law. It's like gravity. It's like saying, I'm trying to get gravity to work for me. No, the law of attraction is working for you. And what I want to do today, and what my goal is to give you some things to help you get in alignment with it so that you're not pushing against. So we're going to look at engaging the magic. And I'll be doing a little bit about what is belief repatterning. Because I developed it, it's about 30 years I've been in practice with it, that a lot of people are still unaware that you can actually repattern or reprogram or brainwash yourself, if you will, to learn how to think in a certain way. And so we're going to give you some things that you can do immediately to raise up your vibe. So what I'd like you to do right now is think about what you did to be here with us. Like you set your alarm, maybe you made sure that you had your tea, you were organized, you probably combed your hair, maybe a bit early on a Sunday morning, and think about all the things that you did to get here and take your right hand and put it straight up in the air. I'm not talking halfway, I'm talking straight up in the air. Straight up. And while you've got it there and you're thinking about all the things that you did to get here online, or if you're listening later, to get here and listen to the recording, bend your elbow and give yourself a pat on the back. Now, I know that just sounds kind of cute. You're thinking, good grief, did I get up early on a Sunday morning to learn how to pat my back? And the answer is yes, you did. Right? Because what I've discovered is that most people take themselves for granted. And you don't like being taken for granted. And yet the person that you're sleeping with, and I'm not talking about on the next pillow, I'm talking about you on your pillow, you're taking yourself for granted. So begin congratulating yourself for things that you would thank other people for doing. So for example, you would thank other people for being on a call that you were presenting. So thank yourself for getting there. You would thank other people for giving you a ride home. Thank yourself for getting there. Now, why is this important? Gratitude is the highest way to raise your vibe, and giving yourself gratitude is even easier. So you know that you should think positively. And I don't know about you, but I used to should on myself. It was like, I know I should think positively. And about 30 plus years ago, I read everything I could find on positive thinking, and everything I read said, you should think positively. It was like, I get it. I understand that, but how? Tell me how, and I'll do it as long as it's legal, moral, and, kind of fun. I'm in for it. And then one day I woke up and went, wait a minute. I have a master's degree in how people learn, master's of education in curriculum design. What if the Calgary Board of Education, who I was then employed with, what if they called me and said, we would like you to write a curriculum to help kids think positively? I wouldn't curl up in the fetal position and go, oh, poor me, I can't do this. I would just get on and do it. And so I began doing it, and I ended up with a very, sometimes willing, but sometimes unwilling student. Her name was Suze Casey. She pushed back. She didn't always do her homework. And she learned to think positively as a habit anyway. And I got myself well, and I got myself back into the schools and started working with kids and discovered that it worked with kids. And you can't snow teenagers. I don't know if you've ever tried, but you simply can't. And I began to realize that when people believed in themselves, not in a fake way, but in a real, authentic, centered way, when we believe in ourselves, we can achieve all kinds of incredible things when times are tough. And so I know that you get it, otherwise you wouldn't be on this call. But are you like getting it? Are you receiving it? Are you actually manifesting everything that you want? I know some people I talk to, they're like, I'm good at manifesting parking spots. Well, I have a theory that there's like angels sitting up in heaven going, playing crib, probably. My angels would be. And they're sitting there going, it's another parking lot request. Oh my God, well, you get it. I'm so tired of the parking lot requests. Could you like get something good, like, love of your life or successful business? Or that's what I'm interested in manifesting. You don't have to believe in angels, but that's what I kind of imagine. So I believe that you've got a team working for you. Now, most people I speak with talk about, I have a problem. This is not what's working. Law of attraction says that whatever you think about, you'll bring about. So if you're thinking about trying to solve a problem and what's not working, you're going to get more problems and more not working. Does that make sense? Yeah. And so instead of a problem, I would suggest that you're looking for a solution. So those of you who work with teams that talk about let's problem solve, it's like, let's solution seek. So I'm going to ask everyone to just say, let's problem solve, and breathe it in and feel it in your body. Okay, so let's problem solve. And now say, let's solution seek, and breathe that in. Let's solution seek. Now you're probably noticing a few things going on physiologically in your body. Anything that you want to comment on? Is anybody noticing anything? Pop it into the chat box. Anybody noticing anything between those two? Door number one, I'm problem solving, or let's problem solve. And door number two, let's solution seek. I'm not seeing anything in the chat box. Does that mean nobody noticed anything different? Or are we just being a little bit shy? There's some chats. There we go. So feel lighter with problem solve, excitement about the possibilities. Yes, yes. And so because the law of attraction is matching your vibe, if you're excited and you can breathe easier and you feel lighter, you're going to get your vibration raised. Someone could hardly breathe in with problem solving. Yes. And so you want to focus on what it is you do want instead of trying to fix what you don't. Now, I was really fortunate. I grew up with a dad who's a veterinarian. And at my house, if you got fixed, you couldn't have puppies or kittens anymore. So I learned to only use the word fixed if I really meant it that way. So we're not fixing, you're not broken. You're in the exact right place to learn what you need to learn to move forward. So instead of what's not working, what could you do? You could look at creating what you want. And the main fuel of creation is emotion. That's the fuel. It's not the idea, it's the fuel of the feeling, and that's your body. And so when Trudy says, I talk to the body, well, it's kind of like that. I tap into what the body is feeling as an emotion and then moving it towards something else. So I get you might be feeling frustrated. So you could think, I'm feeling frustrated. The law of attraction is going to meet you at frustration. But if you go, I'm feeling frustrated, and I would much rather feel, I don't know, what would be a possibility on the other side of frustration? Maybe something like clear or in sync or peaceful or calm.
Accepting, Suze, like accepting the circumstances or the situation.
Yeah, and accepting it on this side of the line. Not okay, I'm accepting it, but no, it's here. And I'm a really rubber hits the road kind of gal. Like, what's practical? What can I do from where I am right now with what I've got? And I'm going to show you why, when you're on this side, it's almost impossible to come up with creative solutions. So people often beat themselves up when they're over here going, no, you don't have any access to this. I'm going to talk a little bit about how that can happen. Now, Abraham, what's some of the Hicks work, Esther and Jerry Hicks, Law of Attraction, says if you've not yet received what you want, you're just not vibrating at a level that matches the energy. So if you imagine that everything that you want is out there like in the ether, kind of like you just need to radio dial it in. Or if you were my age, you might remember hanging under the rabbit ears in the living room, trying to get the snow off the television so you could watch the hockey game. Okay, that's what you want to do, is you want to get your energy in the same vibe, in the same frequency, if you will. So your factory preset, because people say, well, why do I go to the negative? Like, I'm generally a positive person, but each and every one of us is an animal. And animals, when they're confronted with something new, different, unusual that they haven't encountered before, will go. Now, the difference between most animals and most people is most animals will check the situation, be very in the present, and go, okay, it's fine, there's no imminent danger. People will go, oh man, like in 1962, this happened to me, and I better, or what if, right? We go past and future. And it's like, whoa. So what we want to do is we want to take a look at that natural tendency for imagination and learning and use it to get you to this side of the line. Okay, does that make sense? So instead of being in worry, doubt, or fear, we can be in acceptance, we can be in calm, we can be in harmony, whatever it is that you want, but you want to focus on the energy of what it is that you want to feel. Now, I know it's a big leap from one to the other, and that's why I have a 7-step process that moves you through to get there. So don't worry about the how, just tell the how monkey in your head, we're going to get there, okay? So what if you could train your subconscious mind, which is in fact running the program for you? We all think our conscious mind is, but it's our subconscious mind that's running the program for us. What if you could train it to go to this side of the line? Remember being at a conference with Bob Proctor in the early 90s. And he was like at the front of the room, he was like, at all times, you must be vigilant with your thoughts. I really respected Bob, but I wrote on the side of my margin, good idea, Bob. However, I'm going to be sleeping a big chunk of the time. And when I'm sleeping, my subconscious mind is in charge, and it's way more powerful. And I went, I need to train my subconscious mind to do this for me. And so the belief recoming process is a process of training your subconscious mind to go to the upside of the line as its habit, to look at possibilities instead of what's dragging you down. So this is the model. Every thought, every conversation, every word, everything is on one side of the line or the other. Now on this side of the line, there's what I call the 4 Fs. That's the fight, flight, freeze. And the fourth one rhymes with fire truck, and I don't print it out, but we've all felt it, right? That has a few less letters than fire truck. Okay, that's the 4 Fs. Now, when you're there, it is a survival process that you do not have access to other things, just keeping alive, because that's our number one wiring. So what repatterning does, just like you see the arrow going down on the left side of your screen, and then a dotted arrow going across, and then going up on the right side of your screen, it moves you over the line so that then you have access. Now, you've all experienced this. You're too hungry to even think about ordering anything, or you're too angry to be even able to hear what somebody else is saying, or you're too afraid to even take a step forward. Moving yourself over to that side of the line, your subconscious mind does not know if it's now or then, near or far, big or small. So let's make it near, now, and small. And what can I do to move myself over the line? So instead of being in fear, I might just look out the window and go, and really let the feeling of the snow that's softly drifting down, that peacefulness of it. Now I can look at the snow and go, I'm gonna have to struggle it. Or I can look at the snow and go, it's so peaceful. I'm the one who chooses what my thought is. And with that thought, there's a chemical thing that goes through every cell of your body and tells you how to act. So you want to get on this side of the line. Does that click for people? Any questions to that point? Okay, so a little bit about who I am. Trudy mentioned a few things. I just want to point out, some of you may remember the movie The Secret, or you may have a copy of the movie The Secret. Well, as I mentioned earlier, I had been working one-on-one with Bob Proctor early in the 90s, and I was at a conference where he was at in fall of 2005, and he had copies of The Secret, had not been released yet. And so I got one for myself, and I went back to him and I said, how many extras do you have? And he said, oh, I got about 5 or 6. So I brought him back to Calgary with me. And then people started asking me and phoning me. And so I started ordering them. And I began ordering copies of The Secret. And between the fall of 2005 and March of 2006, when it became readily available at Staples, I sold 3,000 copies of that DVD out of my basement. Okay, now here's the cool thing about it. I wasn't doing it to make money. I was doing it because I was so excited that here was something that helped people understand in real language about how your brain works. And it was like, good, now I don't have to do that part. I can just show them the how, because that's really, like I said, I'm a rubber hits the road kind of gal. But here's the interesting thing about it. Although I wasn't doing it for gain, I was doing it in service. I was only making $1 per unit. So this was not a big money-making venture for me. But at $1 per unit times 3,000 in 2006, it really helped. And I lived in a complex that had a movie theater downstairs. And so on just about every Wednesday night, I would hold an open, complimentary, let's watch the video and have a conversation. And that built my mailing list. And it's how I met many, many, many of my clients who have then referred me to other clients. And so when you show up as who you are, with what your gifts are, with what your passions are, that's when the magic gets involved. And so what was really interesting is that I began full-time practice, as that said, in 1999. I'd been playing around with it before that. How I began full-time practice is I had somebody phone and ask me for an appointment, and I didn't even know I did appointments. I said, thank you so much for calling. What's your name and phone number? Can I call you back? I'm just in the middle of something. I'll be back to you in about a half an hour. How did you find out about me? And I hung up the phone, my girlfriend, and I said, what are you doing? And she said, people need to know about it. They need to know that you figured this out. And I said, well, she wants an appointment. What do I charge? And she said, I don't know. What did you pay for your last massage? I said, $100. She said, charge $100. So I did. And that's how my business began. So I didn't set out, to do this, nor did I set out to become internationally published with Hay House. I just vibed at my best vibe that I knew how to be for me. And I set intention with things like, I will do what it takes as long as it's legal, moral, and fun to get the word out. This is what I encourage everyone to do, is just show up as your best you. And then the magic happens. If you had told me that I was going to be on Hay House Radio, that I was going to not only be on Hay House Radio, they gave me a 1-month radio show in conjunction with publishing the book. And on week 2, they were like, this is unreal. Like, you're getting a lot of people to phone in. I said, I haven't got anybody to phone in. I just thought if you went on the radio and said, call in, they would. That's how naive I was. But people needed to know the how. And so,
Suze, can I ask, because most people don't, like, they'll tell themselves, yes, I can, but don't know what their beliefs are actually undermining,
yeah.
The intention or the goal, whatever it may be. So can you speak to that?
Absolutely. It's like I paid you $20 because that's where we are right now.
Okay, great.
Because you probably have what I call the yeah, but rabbit. Yeah, but how do I do that? Right? How do I do that? And so the 7-step process is the belief repatterning process to move you through, to get you from where you are to where you're going to go. Now, Trudy mentioned uncovering the beliefs. The challenge with beliefs is that you really don't notice them until you bang up against them. And so I like to think about beliefs as kind of like the tent you live in, and you only notice it if you like bolt upright in bed and bang against it like something in your life happens. What holds the tent in place of your beliefs is the center pole of a tent, and that's your thoughts. And what holds those thoughts in place are like those little guide wires with the little pegs. And when you go camping in that kind of a tent, you trip over those little guide wires and pegs all the time, and those are your emotions. And so what we do is we focus on what is the emotion that feeling of ick is pointing me toward. And then that'll get you to this side. And then you can often look back and go, I see what's going on. Okay, so we're going to do a really super generic one. I'm going to ask you to just everybody do it along with me. And the very first step is you've got to acknowledge the ick. Okay, you can't pretend it away or la it away. You've got to acknowledge it. And so I use forgiveness, and you'll notice it's forgiving yourself. And so let's just think about what it is that you want to manifest. Okay, and that kind of, I don't know how, belief that you may have going on. And let's do this together. So have a sip of water because we're bending some brain cells. Your brain needs oxygen and water in order to build new neural pathways. Also needs protein. You might be hungry after this. All right, so big deep breath. Let's do it together. I forgive myself for believing the law of attraction isn't working for me. Breathe it in, and then let it go. I'm going to ask you to make sure you're on mute. Okay. All right. So what we're doing is acknowledging now that same kind of lighter feeling is what you might find as we move through. In fact, you will find. Okay. As we move through these statements, I'm going to give you another one because my colleague at Hay House, now passed away, Wayne Dyer, said you only have to make one decision, and that is, does the world work for you or against you? Once you make up that mind, your mind about that question, you're fine. So I forgive myself. Let's do the second one. I forgive myself for believing the world happens to me. Breathe it in and let it go. Okay.
Suze, we have someone in the waiting room. Would you check to see that you've got hosts?
Hold them in. Yeah, I didn't see that pop up. Thanks. Okay, so once we've acknowledged it, then we want to open to a new possibility, and that's the next stage. So let's just do this one together. I give myself permission to open to a more effective way of being. And breathe it in and let it go. I give myself permission to learn and grow and create what I truly desire. Breathe that one. You see, you're wired to stay alive first, and your second basic wiring is to learn, mostly so you can stay alive, okay? And when we're thinking thoughts on this side of the line, it creates a real negative ick in our cells. And that creates disease, discomfort. So you want to make sure that you're moving yourself through so you can have those life-giving, vibration-raising energies, okay? And I know it can be challenging. I developed this for myself. I didn't kind of go into the story, and I'm not going to go deeply, but let me put it this way. 2 bouts of stage 4 cancer, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, and clinical depression, all in the first couple of years of the 30s. Then I developed this. And clearly there's a happy ending to the story. Okay. So Einstein said, you have to change your mind, basically. You can't continue to think the same way and solve any problem. And so what repatterning does is it shifts your perspective and helps you change your mind. Now, a term that's used a lot in personal development is you have to get out of your comfort zone. And I don't know about you, but whenever anybody says that, I imagine myself under a like nice fluffy feather duvet, and it's like a cold stone floor outside of that bed, and I don't really want to get out. We like to be comfortable. So although we're wired to learn, we also want to keep things the same. We all kind of ran up against that belief when the pandemic hit, and it was like, what, I can't do this, I can't do that, what's going on? We were out of our comfort zone. So I'm going to suggest that rather than thinking about getting out of your comfort zone, so we talked about a problem and looking for a solution, instead of getting out of your comfort zone, what about moving into your learning zone? Because you're wired to go there. Excuse me, I got a little Sunday morning frog here. Okay, so we're going to move into our learning zone. So the next stage is where we put the 2 ideas together. I can stay in my comfort zone, or I can move to a learning zone. I choose to be in my learning zone. So you're using your conscious mind. Now, I don't expect you to know how to do repatterning. I'm just walking you through some generic statements. And when I work one-on-one with someone, or one of the practitioners that I've trained work one-on-one with you, we tailor it to your specific situation. I'm just giving you a generic concept, okay? I hear people all the time say, I'm just going to wait and see. Well, wait and see doesn't work. Creating what supports you does. Okay, so I can wait and see, or I can create what supports me. I choose to support me. Now, what supports you always is having your mind on this side of the line, because you'll remember on that side is your intelligence, your creativity, your intuition, the things that you've learned. So if you find yourself going, I should know better than this, you're on this side of the line. You want to get yourself over to this side of the line by refocusing your thoughts. And repatterning is the 7 steps that'll get you there. So the first one is to acknowledge it by forgiving yourself. Permission opens up a possibility, and choice, you put the 2 beside each other, and it's like pretty obvious which one you're going to pick. The next stage, because learning, and a lot of kind of traditional counseling therapy kinds of things will get you to a choice and then they leave you there. But in order to really learn something, you have to take that learning and apply it to something. So the next stage is asking you to find something that's specific, doable, and only relies on you. So we're going to look for something that would be learning that you're going to be doing today. Okay? Now you're going, I'm not learning anything today. Well, if you're picking up any magazine or book, you're going to be learning something. If you're driving somewhere, you're going to be learning something. You're always learning something. Okay? So I'm going to put this one up, and there's a little dot, dot, dot. Okay? I'm free to be in my learning zone today when I. And you would want to put your own specific example in there. So where might you be in your learning zone today? Pop it into the chat box. It could be as simple as I'm free to be in my learning zone when I drive from my place to the corner and count how many light standards are between here and there, or how many houses are between here. Your subconscious mind doesn't know if it's big or little, but what you want to do is move yourself to that learning zone. Does that make some sense? And this is what I call your own work. When else might you be in your learning zone? Okay. So it's giving the answer to the, well, that's cool, but how am I going to do it? Super simple, easy, doable things that you can accomplish. So then the next stage, stage 5, is now looking into the past, something that is true for you that creates that feeling. So in other words, you want to connect it to the future with what I might do, and then connect it to the past and anchor it in. So when were you in your learning zone? I know how to be in my learning zone. It happened when. So when could you be in your learning zone today, or where might you have been? Pop it into the chat room. Okay. I remember doing this presentation in Red Deer, and this gal was like, I'm going to say like late 70s, early 80s. And she was like, when I perfected my pastry recipe. And I'm like, yeah, that's what we're talking about. Somebody else said, when I was learning to drive a standard, and I was on a hill at a stop sign, and I put it into gear and it went forward. Yes, that kind of, yeah, I know how to do this. Okay. All right, somebody, when I make salmon for dinner, that's specific, it's doable. Yep. When I read a chapter of Millionaire Mind, it's a great thing to read today. After this, yeah. When I read my book, yeah. When I'm in an excited conversation with friends and family, which we're coming up to here, but when I'm creating, yep, when you were creating raw foods, yeah. Yeah, awesome. All right, so then the next stage is where the I am comes in. And this is where people like to do the I am and look in the mirror, and traditional kinds of ways of doing affirmation will have you do that. But here's the thing. If you don't believe it, if I stand in front of the mirror and say, I am tall, skinny, beautiful, and wealthy beyond all imagination, the little monkey in my head is apt to go, have you checked your visa bill recently? Right? Or something. It's going to give you a little feedback, and that's what's going to vibe out. So it has to be true. It is true that you know how to be in your learning zone, because we just gave some examples. And so you're going to claim that with high emotion and high energy. And so that then raises you up. And so I am in my learning zone, and that feels good. That feels comfortable. That feels fun. That feels exciting. That feels curious. And you raise the vibe up. That's 6 of the 7 steps. And you already know the 7th one. We did it at the beginning. You congratulate yourself. That's just like me, to be in my learning zone and be excited. Now, I have people say to me, how long is this going to last, and all of that kind of stuff. And that's okay. We're going to get to it. But you want to give gratitude to yourself. The attitude of gratitude has got a lot of press, but it's always about giving gratitude out. You want to be giving gratitude in. as well. So for example, I am grateful for the hot water in my shower, and I'm grateful to myself that I paid the utility bill this month. Because if you didn't have hot water in your shower, you'd be going, oh, I forgot to pay the utility bill. And you would beat yourself up for that. So thank yourself for the things that you've been taking for granted. Easiest way to raise your bar. So again, inner critic, inner coach. Now the inner critic, let me just go back there for a second. The inner critic's not bad, and the inner coach is not good. The inner critic will drain your energy, and the inner coach will raise your energy. And the critic is there to inform the coach about who you really are so you can transform.
Suze, can you say more about the I am, which is it's the final step in the process, correct?
It's the sixth step. And when I wrote the book, I said it was the final step. And then my branding coach said, no, there's 7 steps. And I said, there can't be, Jerry. I already wrote the book. But he said, you should start with it, the gratitude piece. So it's the 6th step is that I am. It needs to be true. So you can say I am becoming, or I am expanding, or I am learning, or I am exploring. If you cannot say I am, like I am peaceful, meaning the monkey might come up and say, well, not about driving in the snow today, you're not. So it would be, I am becoming more peaceful, or I am bringing my peacefulness to my drive. Or does that help?
Yeah, that clarifies it for me. And I had missed that. And then being grateful that we coached ourselves, or being grateful for things generically in life, or like
you can be grateful for things generically, okay, but always bring it back home. Okay,
what does that mean?
Bringing it
for
back
people who don't know your language. Okay,
bringing it back to you. So I am grateful for my dear friend, and I'm grateful to myself for being a good friend to her. Okay, you want to always bring it back to self. Okay,
great. So here's my question. And I don't know where you're going next, but I am wondering if someone would put their hand up, that you would actually model this process working with them as you work with me, and have that person who doesn't know you experience the magic, the miracle right now of your work. Would that be doable?
I absolutely can do that if there is someone who would like to do that. And I'm going to say, because there are a number of people who have worked with me before, I'm going to say somebody who's not worked with me before. Something that's really cool about this is you don't have to tell your story. I don't need to know. I'm not trying to solve the problem for you. What I'm doing is helping you get from feeling this way to this way about it. Okay. And you can do this with anything. So who wants to play?
Yeah. And if you put your screen down, oh, there we go. We've got a hand up from Miss Kate Rhodes, who I actually talked with her about you a couple of months ago, I think. Hey, Kate.
Okay.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
And before we go anywhere, Kate, people are not allowed to have kitties or dogs on the screen without me being introduced to them. And I know.
Coco.
Hello.
Coco kitten. This kitten is Amanda Howden's fault. She got us 2 kittens, and then the dog is Apollo, and he just
wandered by, did a cameo appearance. Thank you. And we probably should just say hi to the fellow who's holding the end.
Oh, this is James.
Hi, James.
Okay, can you take your screen down, please?
Sorry?
Can you take your screen down so we can see you and Kate?
I absolutely can.
Yeah. Great, thank you.
You'll be able to see everybody anyway. You can click on the participants and view everyone, and it'll just go in a little line across the top, but all good. Okay, so Kate, now I gotta find you. There you are. Okay, and I'm gonna see if I can make you a little bit bigger. So I'm seeing who's, there we go. That'll be better. There we are. Okay, so I'm just gonna ask you to think about something that has been doing this for you, okay? That you know is like, and you just kind of can't seem to, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to probably get it all the way there, but what I will do is start the process so that you can feel it. Okay.
Okay.
So while you're there, what I'm going to do, if you were in my presence, I would muscle test with you. Are you familiar with muscle testing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to muscle test on your behalf.
Okay.
Okay. And as Trudy mentioned at the beginning, it's just energy. And so I'm just going to kind of get into your energy, not in a creepy way. Let me just grab my book over here. Because I never know how long it's going to take to do these. And so when I do conversations and presentations, I don't always do a live one like this because it might take 3 to 5 minutes. It might take 10 or 15. So we're going to watch the process. What I'm going to suggest to everyone else is watch Kate. So Kate, don't feel centered out here. I want to either watch how her face changes, how her breathing changes, how her body physically will change as we walk through the steps. Okay. All right. So Kate, I need like, actually, I don't need anything, but just in order to allow me to make them a bit more specific, what is the concern around? What is the place where you would like support?
Oh, okay. There's a couple of things. Let's see. I've got one thing with a person that I like support with, and another thing with like bringing in some money and new clients.
All right. So here's what I'm going to suggest. I'm getting that we're going to do the bringing in some money. Okay. Because I suspect that probably applies more generically to everyone. And one of the cool things about belief repatterning is that we can kind of karaoke it. Like you don't have to sing along, but others can say the statements as I suggested them to Kate. Okay. So Kate, I'm going to say a statement. I'll get you to repeat it back to me. We'll breathe in through our nose, out through our mouth. And if the monkey, which is what I call the little voice in your head, shows up and goes blah, 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 you tell me what it says. Okay. I won't take offense. So in order to support Kate, so body open, I'm getting a yes. Okay. Is there anything in the way? No, we're starting. First half, second. We're going to the back of my book. So we're starting with an upward side. Saw a word on the upside. 54, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm just in a book that I put together that puts emotions that tend to drag you down on one side and tend to raise you up on the other side. Okay. And at the back of the book is just the word on the upside. So clearly this is something that you've been doing some stuff around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. Okay. Very interesting. The word that comes up is elegant. Okay. I forgive myself for believing I have to bring people in.
I forgive myself for believing that I have to bring people in.
You breathe it in through your nose and let it go. I wouldn't want to be brought in.
I wouldn't want to be brought in.
And I suspect that my ideal clients don't want to be brought in.
And I suspect that my ideal clients don't want to be brought in.
Breathe it in. Okay, so an opposite of bringing someone in, would it be inviting? Encouraging? Okay, so we'll use inviting. Yeah. Okay, I give myself permission to invite people in an elegant way.
I give myself permission to invite people in an elegant way.
Okay, breathe that in. Okay, so pop in the chat box anything that you're noticing. Okay, as you're watching Kate, just pop it into the chat box. Okay, Kate, what did you notice when we moved from forgiveness, which was acknowledging, to permission? What did you notice? Anything?
I felt more like lit up and excited.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it felt lighter.
We're only at step 2. Steps. Okay. Your mind is so powerful. Okay. So let's go here. I give myself permission to be elegant in my business.
I give myself permission to be elegant in my business.
Okay, and breathe that in. Now I'm just gonna, we all know what the word elegant means, but I like looking it up because oftentimes there'll be something you'll go, oh yeah, baby, that totally fits. And of course, oh, good thing, Sue's glasses right where I needed them. Love when that happens. I think that printed dictionaries should come with glasses attached to it. Okay, elegant, graceful, tasteful, refined, ingeniously simple, and effective.
Sounds good.
Sound good to you?
Yeah.
I give myself permission to build my business in an ingeniously simple way.
I give myself permission to build my business in an ingeniously simple way.
I like being elegant.
I like being elegant.
Okay, breathe it in. And how's that feeling?
So good.
And we're at stage 2. Are you ready to move to stage 3? Okay. I can bring people in, or I can invite them with elegance.
I can bring people in, or I can invite them with elegance.
I'm going to get you to do the same thing I'm doing with my hands, because this is kind of a fun thing. So in your right hand, put the feeling of bringing people in. Okay. And feel it.
Okay.
So that thought. Okay. And then in your left hand, put the feeling of inviting people in with elegance in a simply refined way. Okay.
Yeah.
And look at it. Okay. So you can already feel the difference. Just play with me. Okay. I can hang on to that bringing people in feeling, or I can invite people in with elegance. I can hang on to
this bringing people in feeling, or I can invite with elegance.
I can't do both at the same time. Shake your head and bang your hands.
I can't do both at the same time.
So I choose, do it like you're weighing things out. I choose
elegance.
Notice what happened. Does everybody see that? Yeah. Her subconscious mind, every cell in her body is going, when I have bringing people in or elegance, I'm going to pick freaking elegance. That's what I want. And probably you got a little sparkly thing in your body happening.
Yeah.
Okay. Is anybody besides me having fun here? Okay. I believe that personal development does not need to be hard or cause a lot of angst or dig up a lot of, excuse the expression, shit. Okay. What we do is we take that shit and we turn it into manure, which then becomes fertilizer to grow what you want. We're at stage 3. Are you interested in moving to stage 4?
Yes.
Can I ask a question? Did you pick the right, left? Why would you pick right or left?
Oh, somebody else who knows about body medicine. The right side of your body is the past, the left side of your body is the future. And so that's why I do it.
What about receiving or giving? So the masculine energy would be more of an action or doing, which left would be more receptive as well.
Right can be, but right is also the feminine, which is creative and moving forward. And the masculine is often about being rooted in history and rooted in what was before. And so I'm really wanting to move the whole body mind from, well, you're at like level 16 here, but you're getting it. Okay? So I use like all kinds of everything in this. Okay. I've studied a bazillion different things and I just put it together and went, how do I make this be super simple, super effective so that it works? But thanks for noticing that. It makes my heart sing that somebody knew that I would do it. That's great. Because I sneak stuff like that in. Judy's probably going, man, I've worked with her for 16 years. I didn't know she did that on purpose. Okay. All right. So you're sure you want to go to level 4?
Yes.
So level 4 is that, where might I do this today, tonight, tomorrow? Okay. It does not have to have anything to do with your business case. It can, but it does not. Let's make it easy, simple, things that you're probably already doing. So I'm going to guess, like, you look like you're like way taller than me. I'm going to guess that you could like walk up or down the stairs with elegance.
Oh.
This is how easy it could be. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I am free to feel elegant today, because we care about the feeling, not about the action right now. Okay. I am free to feel elegant today when
Okay. I am free to feel elegant today when I walk around the house, when I make the kids some lunch.
And this is what people do. They start listing it off. Okay.
Oh, okay.
It has to be specific. So when I walk down the stairs to the kitchen to make tea, okay, make it real for you. Okay. And then you're going to breathe it in and let it go, because we want it to sink into your body. Okay. I am free to be elegant today as I, or when I.
Okay. I am free to be elegant today when I make my coffee.
Breathe that in. And feel that. Like, it's like, well, I can do that. Says the little monkey in your head. Like, hands down, no problem. I am free to be elegant this evening when I.
I'm free to be elegant this evening when I make supper.
Okay, breathe that in. Tomorrow, I'll be elegant as I.
Tomorrow, I'll be elegant as I edit some photos.
Breathe that in. Okay, so what we've done is we've said, okay, we've answered the monkey who's going, yes, awesome, but how are we going to do it? Kate's given it 3 examples. Now, if she remembers when that's happening to go, this is elegant, nice work, that's bonus points. But if you don't, your subconscious mind is going, making coffee, elegant, making coffee, elegant. Now, let's say 3 weeks from now, you're making coffee and you spill the coffee, right? What'll happen is that your brain's going to go, well, that wasn't very elegant. You'll go, yeah, but I was all those other times, right? And so you just begin this inner dialogue with the voices in your head, and everybody's got them. So don't think anybody's weird here. We all have voices or images or something that come forward. Some people hear it, some people see it, some people just feel them, but we have that communication inside. Okay, so we're at stage 4. Are you ready to 5?
Mm-hmm.
So 5 is when you tie back to something that you know. So I want you to think about when you were extremely elegant.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, you got one?
Mm-hmm.
I know what it's like to be elegant. I was. Go ahead.
I know what it's like to be elegant because, sorry, say that a bit again.
Just keep
Oh,
talking.
okay. Okay, so I know what it's like to be elegant because I was when I went to Royal Ascot and got all dressed up and was all fancy.
Absolutely. I got tingles on that one. Breathe it in. That's the whole point. That's great. What a super example. Okay. Now, is there a time, because we want to maybe start tying this to the action of inviting people into your business. Okay. Was there a time that you hosted like a dinner party and you invited people and it was kind of elegant? Or when you invited people to do something with you? I mean, I know it's a while since any of us have socialized, but an elegant invitation that you gave, like maybe, I don't know, when you got married, or maybe when you announced that your baby was born, or because I heard you were making lunches for the kids. So like sometime that you know what it's like to give an elegant invitation. You did it when?
Even elegance in inviting people on team, inviting people to access to power.
Oh, okay.
Where it was simple.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So I know what it's like to make an elegant invitation when I invited all of team to a potluck at my house.
Good job. Breathe that in. Okay. So you see how we're oh yeah. Okay. I do know this. This isn't new, right? Which calms down that this is new. You have to be afraid, but it's like, okay, I got this. Okay. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're going to move to stage 6, that claiming I am becoming more elegant and it's moving into my business.
Becoming more elegant and it's moving into my business.
And that feels
amazing.
Good job. Breathe it in. Now you can give yourself a pat on the back or a thumbs up or a heart hug or whatever you do to anchor. I am so grateful to myself for bringing elegance into my business.
I am so grateful to myself for bringing elegance into my business.
It's who I am.
Who I am.
Good job. Breathe it in. Body, mind, soul accept that. Yes, we do. Okay. Does she need to do repetitions on this? Yes, she does. Now, some of my esteemed colleagues will say 90 days to a new habit. Does she need to practice this for 90 days? No. More? No. Here's my yes, here's my no. Okay, and you can switch back and forth if you're going, I thought it was the other way around. No, you can decide which way. So I always decide yes is through because I'm using lists. Okay, so does she need to do it for a month or more? No, a week or more. No, how about 1, 2, 3? How about 4 days? Could you practice 4 days? You sure? Like that's not too much? Okay, and 3,000 times a day? No, 1,000 times a day. 1, 2, 3. How about 4 times a day for 4 days? That's your own work. Okay. And so what your subconscious mind is saying, if you could just remind me of this like 4 times in the next 4 days. Now, if you forget a time, it's okay because subconscious doesn't know the difference. Okay. You just pick it up when you remember. And I always suggest tie it to something that you're already doing because habits love habits. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Something that you're going to be doing every day is getting up and going to sleep. Okay. So, and that's when your subconscious is real close to your conscious. What I would suggest is maybe put it on the mirror in your bathroom or on your bedside table so that that's kind of the first thing you see when you wake up and the last thing. Okay, so when you wake up, you look at it and you go, there's lots of opportunity to be elegant today. I can do here, here, here. I can wear that really great top that's got so elegant, right? Okay, it can be super easy. And it's going to take you like 30 to 45 seconds. You just want to get in the feeling of it and create the goosies. or the truth bumps, whatever you call it. Okay. At night, when did I feel elegant today? Now that monkey might come up and say, you didn't feel elegant when you were like snarking at the kids. And you're like, you're right. That's not me, because I know I'm elegant. And you can say, you know, even I'm putting on hand lotion in an elegant way. It literally can be that easy, Kate. Okay, so that's twice, and those are the most effective times. And then 2 other times, maybe when you're lunch and dinner or driving to and from, or tie it to a habit.
Okay.
Is that making sense?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. And I just gave you like a crash course. How are you feeling?
Awesome. Super excited. And elegant.
And now what happens is Kate's now on this side of the line, so she's going to start getting those creative ideas, that intuition. Things are going to start dropping in because her mind is open instead of doing the blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to ask you to, through the lens of elegance and inviting people into your business, take a look back at the trying to bring people in. How does that feel?
Like horrible and kind of dark and bit.
And so last year.
Yeah.
So not who you are. Okay. Lovely. Thank you so much for playing. Here's a big
thank you.
yeah, everybody show your appreciation for Kate, because it could have been you instead. Next time, be faster on the hand up. Well done. And for introducing you to your Eminals and James.
I experienced you at a trade show a few years back, and you did the same thing with me.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I didn't know who I was coming on to see this morning until I saw you.
You recognize me good, so I still look the same ish. Perfect. Well, it's funny because if people take a look at like my book and you look at the picture on the back, which was an awesome picture of me like 15 years ago, but it looks like an older aunt or something compared to now, because you know how stress will pull you down, right? Well, non-stress raises you up. So I just got my letter from the government asking me when I want my old age pension. It's like, I think I'll just file that for the time being. I don't think I need to look at that this week. So super. So Trudy.
Yeah, thank you, Suze, for that live demonstration. Kate, I acknowledge you for, going first and being first. Yeah, so where would you like to go next? We've got, 30 minutes. Maybe we can pause here for some questions, and then you can put your presentation back on and, get that complete. So let's see if there's who's got a question, who has an ask, raise your hand.
Sorry, I was halfway through on the screen share and I had to finish it and then come back.
Yeah, I saw that. No problem.
Technology.
Okay, well, let me ask this then. Who, by a show of hands, and using your digital hands, because most people are off camera, is experiencing like what's available through repatterning? And, my intention was that you have the experience of expanding your personal power to create magic, miracles, and manifest in your life. So who's gotten some of that? Thank you, Amanda Howden, Robbie Pelche, Chelsea, Shannon Lee. Okay, great. So we're fulfilling, thanks, Tessa. We're fulfilling my intention and the outcome. So Suze, take it away.
Awesome. And before we do that, any other questions? Well, somebody's just in the waiting room, so I'm going to let her in. Okay. Any questions, comments, curiosities, ahas? I see something happen in the chat box.
Someone unsure about how to raise their hand, and her hand is up.
Okay, awesome, awesome. All right, so let's just go back. I love technology. Sometimes, it's funny because sometimes technology can get to you. Have you ever noticed that? And so I have a little song that I sing. I love technology. It makes me happy. I get to stay home on a Sunday, talk to all of you, and I didn't have to drive anywhere in the snow. I love technology. And I just make it up because it raises my vibe. Okay. Literally anything that you can do to raise your vibe. All right. So the law of attraction is always working. It does not take Sundays off. It is not judging you. You aren't good or bad. It is simply matching your vibe. Okay, so let's let go of that whole, what did I do to make this happen? Because I'm going to show you in just a little while that sometimes toughest stuff that happened to you is actually opening you up to the biggest and most grandest miracles and magic. So whatever you focus on is going to expand. And you want to create that feeling on the upside. I mean, Kate's got an advantage. She's got some animals. She can rub puppy's belly, you know, like whatever it takes to get you into that place. And if you want to acknowledge what's going on, I recognize this ick, I give myself permission to feel something else that's pointing me to, this is what I'm choosing, and here's a way I can do it. Your feelings are more powerful than your words, but when you combine the two, super powerful. So I'm going to go through the word attraction and just give you some real highlighting type top hits. So A is for awareness, and that's what today's about. And I really appreciate, Kate, you being willing to play full on. And I don't expect anyone to be able to do this all. Okay, I've thrown a bunch of stuff at you. But if you don't know that it's a possibility, then you can't choose it. And so I'm really about awareness, and I really appreciate Trudy inviting me here. So what repatterning does is it literally shifts your perspective to something more supportive. And I have people all the time say, how long is it going to last? Well, it's learning. So when you learned ABC or 1, 2, 3, it lasted because you could apply it. It was useful. When you learn sine, cosine, and tangent, high school math, hopefully you remembered it for the exam, probably know how to spell it. But for most people, unless you're an engineer, if I asked you to describe it, you'd be going, I'm not really sure. Can I Google that? Okay, it didn't last because you weren't applying it. It wasn't useful. But if you had something in your toolkit that allowed you to go from feeling like this to like this and have access to your intelligence and creativity, would you use it? Yeah, it would become your favorite utensil. Okay. And what happens, like people say to me, Suze, don't you get upset or frustrated? Of course I do. I'm human. So I get tired, hungry, thirsty, and my pants need changing just like everybody else. Okay. But here's the thing, I don't stay there. Even if I'm in a real deep funk, usually 15, 20 minutes, I'm out of it. And if I'm not, I reach out to one of the other practitioners that I've trained to get the support, because sometimes we can't see our own stuff. We need somebody to come and help. Oh, and now you've got some perception. People always say, I don't know if this will work for me. It works for everyone all the time, hands down, guaranteed. Now, when I first met my partner, he said, you can't say that. And I said, you've never seen it work. How do I know it works for everybody? Because we're all wired to learn. And it deals with how you learn. So it is based in energetic medicine, in energetic personal development work, obviously, but it's also really rooted in how we learn, in cognitive learning theory. So anybody's got an education background is going to be going, let's see what she's doing here. So if you do have an education background, it's called a learning scaffolding. If you don't worry about it. All right, so this T is for timing. How long does it take to change a habit? 90 days, 30 days. Well, here's the thing. Anybody who's ever had a child, you bring that baby home, it doesn't take you 90 days to learn how to change a diaper. You change your habits like that if there's enough emotion involved. I had a very full-on life. And when I met Phil, boom, all of a sudden I had time to see him, talk to him every day. There's enough emotion involved, you will switch things really quickly. So there is, however, a law of gestation, and that says that the things take time to line up, but the speed with which you will manifest and attract is in direct proportion to the amount of belief you hold it can happen. Now, remember that the belief is held in place by your thoughts, which are held in place by your emotions, and that's the fuel. So the more you can keep your emotion here, the more things happen. Now, that whole law of attraction thing, how does it work? Well, if you walked into a restaurant, let's imagine pre-COVID, so we don't have to deal with any of that stuff. You walked into a restaurant at lunchtime and it was pretty full. And in fact, there was 2 tables that had seats at them. One was one person at a table that would seat 6 people, but they were kind of like grumpy looking and kind of looked up at you with this evil eye. And another person was sitting at a tiny little table right by the kitchen, but like smiled and welcomed you over. You're gonna go sit at the table with the higher vibe. That's just what's gonna happen, okay? So the law of attraction is always working. And the law of gestation, that timing will become shorter the more passion that you hold. Okay, this T is for thoughts, and it matters what you think. It matters, even if you're not saying it out loud, because you're vibing it out. You all know this. You've been walk into a room, you go, "What's up?" And your partner says nothing, and you're like, you can feel it. Okay, our thoughts matter. So it matters not only how you speak to yourself, silently or out loud, how you perceive yourself, and your thoughts about yourself and others and your beliefs. Now, R is for receiving. You got to get that catcher's mitt on. And one of the things I love doing is helping people expand the catcher's mitt, because a lot of times it's there and you've been deflected. So just think about the last time somebody said, I love that outfit. And you went, this whole thing, that's a deflection. Okay, so I help people with learning to receive compliments, learning to receive and be open to the goodness instead of going, oh, I don't know if I deserve it. None of all of that stuff. Okay, you got to get a big catcher's mitt. So how big is your catcher's mitt? And are you willing to receive all the good that's coming your way? Most people say, yeah, I'm willing. But then they go, oh, but I don't know if I deserve it. And what if somebody would add, no, we would have just like, yes. Because the pile of gunk in your life, there's an equal and opposite law of reciprocity of good in your life. And you got to be willing to receive it. This A is for always. And so I wanted to just point out again, law of attraction is always working. It doesn't wait till you have your briefcase in your hand. It's not waiting until the perfect moment. It is always working. And so you can't really afford a negative thought. You're going to have them, but you want to switch out of them as quickly as you can. And if you've got that automatic switcher in your subconscious working for you, it'll work. C is a conscious choice to create change. You've all made it already. How do I know? Because you're here. You want something different. So every conversation, situation, thought, everything is an opportunity for you to be less of who you are or more of who you are. And you're the one in the middle that gets to choose. So you can take that, I don't feel good, and you can expand that. Or you can take this, I am, and expand that. You get to pick. So I remember I said I'm going to help you kind of take a look at this. So this is Carl Jung's work, The Shadow. So this is you as a shadow, okay? This little person. This is you, your shadow self, pushing against what seems an insurmountable brick wall, okay? What happens is that that wall is actually there in your mind. And when you begin to recognize your shadow and go, oh, that's just a part of me, pointing me to be a better version of myself. This is you as a better version, okay? What happens is that that wall all of a sudden becomes paved and you become a better version of yourself. That makes some sense? When you look back in your past, what makes you who you are, uniquely you, the leader that you are, is how you overcame what you were pushing against. So this T is for training. You need to train your mind. And we support people. I support people one-on-one. As Trudy mentioned, I also do courses. There's lots of comp stuff. I'm going to give you all the details on that. Okay. I is for intention. You set your intention. Now, most people set intention with, this is what I want. I'm going to suggest set intention with the feeling that you want, then get into the feeling of it. Okay. Now, if you follow me on any of the socials, on Belief Repatterning or Suze Casey, all of the socials, we put up a word of intention every day. It comes from, I've got 4 of these little calendars. I printed out 2 of them, but I've got 4 years worth where I just do a word and a little thing to think about every day. Okay, that comes on all of the socials. If you would like it sent to your inbox, just send us a note to the email that you got the invitation for this, and we will add you to the list and send it to you. Complimentary, okay? I'm about let's raise the vibe of everybody, not just me. Let's raise the vibe all the way around. You want to be, and then let the magic in. So here's you, okay? And this is what you can see. Now, you being your best version of yourself with a smile on your face allows you then to see what the universe, God, higher power, the great aardvark, whatever's on top of your list, can see bigger than you. And it's like, ah. And when you are showing up, you're in alignment with that, and you get those good ideas, and you are able to make good decisions to move forward. So O is for opposites also attract. I was talking about, so if you're thinking on the downside, that's going to attract more of that. So when people say it's always that way, it's like, yes, because you have not shifted your perception. Or Einstein, you have not changed your mind or grown or learned. N is when's the best time to start? I say now, okay? Because when you do that, things happen. Bob Proctor, bless his soul, he passed away 2 weeks ago, and so instrumental for so many people. Single most important factor, quality of your self-talk. And now you know that there's a way that you can shift it. The universe's role is to match your vibration with no judgment or ability to decide. It's just matching your vibe. And your job is to decide how you want to be and then be it. And that's the feeling. What's the feeling I want? So with all of the stuff going on in the pandemic for the last 2 years, I made a decision when it first started, we were going to have a kinder and more positive world. And that's how I was going to be through the whole thing. Have I done it 365, 100% of the time? No, but I probably did it like 90 or more percent of the time. Yeah. Michael Lozier, who lives in Victoria, wrote The Law of Attraction. I wish this little quote had landed in my brain before it landed in his, but it landed in his, so I'll give him credit. Mind your own vibration. So if you're missing keys, you can't get the door to open, you can't get things to start. And if you can't find your keys, you're stuck. And they may be all over the place. But I put them together in these stepping stones with those 7 stages. You're going to go, but Suze, there's only 6 keys. That's because gratitude is like the key ring that holds them all together. And self-gratitude. So Flip Your Switch is a 2.5-day course that I offer, teaching you the basics of this. $199 is the regular rate. Any live weekend this year, and we are starting them $149. All you have to do is use that promo code. Okay, so it's 800F4. If you didn't write it down, all you have to do is phone and say I was on Trudy's thing, and I'll go, awesome. You can do that at events.beliefforpatterning.com. We will be sending you an email with the links and the details on it. Okay, there is also lots of complimentary things as well. This is a 2.5-day weekend that I guarantee. These are the dates coming up. I guarantee it so much that at the end of it, if you did not get that perception shift, that I give you your money back. I've been offering that for 30 years and nobody's ever asked me. So that's why I can say I guarantee it. Now, if you want to start right away, we do have an at-home version that is recording. So that's also available to you. All right. So I'm going to say, please say yes to your future self. Because here's the thing, we're going to be looking at this pandemic time like my parents looked at the war, before the war, during the war, and after the war. That's how they always talked. We're going to be saying before COVID, during COVID, and after COVID. Okay, so your future self's going to be looking back at your past self. What do you want to be thinking about? Make sure that you're saying yes to it. Make a commitment to your present self to be a better version of who you are, however you choose to do that. If it's with us, we are so happy to have you. But make sure that you feel fabulous about your past self when you're looking back. And that informs your decisions today. So I so appreciate you exploring it, becoming a better and more effective intentional manifester. Happy to support you in claiming your keys. Here's my coordinates and questions, comments, curiosities, wonders abouts. We've still got some time. I'm going to check in with Kate. How are you feeling now? Have you got a monkey jumping up and down, or is it sitting there going?
Oh, so good. And I'm a little bit distracted because your tapestry in the background, the red one, I've got one that's almost identical to that.
Yeah, it's antique saris, like Indian. Is that what you got?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Great taste.
Right.
Awesome. Okay.
Suze, I put your website in the chat. So if you take your screen down, that way we can see
Perfect.
everybody again.
That's what I was hoping that you would. Thank you. And stop screen share. There we go. All right.
Okay, so we have about 15 minutes left in the scheduled event, and I'm curious who has a question. Amanda, have you worked with Suze? Because when I shared the 3M conversation, you were like Hey, you know Sue. So can you talk about your your experience and or like what was your why and what got created out of it or healed?
And before you do that, hi, Amanda. It's great to see you.
Hi. Yeah, man, it's been years. I'm trying to remember. I remember going to your house and working with you directly and, yeah, it was amazing.
What house was I in? Then I can tell you how long ago it was.
Oh, like Scenic Acres or something?
No, never lived in Scenic Acres.
Somewhere northwest.
Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The other thing I often will say is, how old were your kids? That's,
Oh my gosh. Well, this was back it was at least a decade ago.
Yeah. yeah,
At least 10 years ago.
super.
And like what I'm present to is I was like doing more in my business. I was like, yeah, really on an upward path. So yeah, that's what I'm present to. And I'm like so present to, hey, this is available at any point in time. So right, reach out, connect, get back in the conversation and pull your book out.
Great.
Awesome.
the
Thank
tools.
you. Thank you for sharing, Amanda. Susan, it is there for me to share one of the many miracles that my family experienced working with you. Alicia was 3 years old. My daughter, who's now 28, was 3 years old when I left her dad. And one of the things that she repeatedly said is, I don't have a family. I don't have a family. I don't have a family. And she was like 15 years old. And that conversation started to manifest itself in a physical manner. And I took her to our herbalist, and the herbalist said, this physical manifestation is 100% her internalizing stress. So I called her dad up, Denis, and I said, Denis, I want to take her to Suze Casey. She is a belief repatterner. Will you support this financially? And he said, yes. And Alicia agrees to see Suze. So she's 15. She can have me in the room with her, or she can be alone with Suze. And she chose to be alone with Suze. So I went into the room next door and took a nap and left my 15-year-old daughter with Suze, who an hour and a half later bounds into the room, wakes me up. Mommy, I'm so happy. I'm so happy, Mommy. I'm so happy. And there was a light in her eyes that had not been there for years. Whatever it was, whatever story, whatever belief she had anchored herself in from, being raised in two households, was transformed that day. And she began to work with Suze privately, where everything that was physical that had manifested from that story completely dissolved, never to have returned. And Alicia, now at 28, still is a client of Suze, as I am. And I've had periods where, like you, Amanda, right? I got what I came for. I left. Been away for several years, and actually about 4 months ago, I think Suze started to work with you again inside of a issue I'm dealing with. So I've referred a lot of people to Suze. I have my friend Kim, who resolved a 40-year back injury that he had from working out, resolved in less than 6 conversations with Suze, never returned. Anyway, I love Suze. If you didn't get that, I love Suze's work. And really, each of us is the creator of our life. And this is one way to expand, your personal power in creating magic, miracles, and manifestation. So who else has a comment, please?
I just want to, while we're bridging over to the next person, it works really well for helping you get your mindset around anything physical. It works really well getting your mindset around anything. It also works really well. Like I work with a lot of CEOs who are really super successful. I work with some Olympic athletes who are super successful. Just they know that they need that extra edge. And when things are going well, like I've had clients say, I don't know what we're going to talk about today. I think Trudy, you may be one of them. I have no idea what we're going to talk about today because everything's going really well. I'm like, awesome. let's reinforce it. Let's just take that and supersize it. And thank you for telling us all that story about Alicia, because I mean, I remember as you're telling it, I'm remembering it now. And yeah, because I see people where they are and where they're going. I don't kind of remember where they were before, and I've forgotten all of that. And so it just makes my heart really sing when I know that I have made life easier for others. Yeah.
And I wasn't even aware that the light in her being had gone out, had dimmed over the years of that story, you know, and that reality, right? She was in my home for 2 weeks. She was in her dad's home. And one of my biggest accomplishments in life is that I raised our kids. Denis and I raised our kids as partners in parenting in 2 households. And I wasn't even aware that that light had dimmed and gone out until she bounded into the room that day. And like my daughter was back. My daughter, who was 3 and bright and enlivened and alive, was fully expressed and present in the room. Yeah, one of my miracles. So we're going to pause here for some questions. And if there aren't any, I, appreciate you being here. I see Coral from Vancouver. Hi, Coral. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Trudy. I do have a question.
Great.
One of the things that I wrote down that really spoke to me was mind your own vibration. Can you expand a little bit on that, Suze, for me?
I sure can, Coral. Thanks. That's a Michael Lozier quote, and I love it because so many people, have used the mind your own business, and it's actually all we have to do is mind our own vibration. And by that I mean being conscious about where you are sitting on either side of the line, where you are at any given point in time, which is why I suggest that word of intention each day, where you play with a word and you just kind of pop it into the back of your mind, and then it kind of will happen during the day. Another super easy way, and I don't know if you're looking for an explanation of what I meant by that, which I just gave, or an example of how you could use it in your life, but I'll give you an example of how you can use it in your life as well. You can take a dry erase marker or masking tape, and on your bathroom mirror, put a line down the middle, and a down arrow on one side and an up arrow on the other side. And you want to make the up arrow side as wide as you possibly can, and the down arrow side as narrow as you can, but you can still see your face in it. Okay. And what I'm suggesting is that you walk into the bathroom and you decide which side of the line you're on. So you're becoming conscious. You're not just like operating on autopilot. You decide which side of the line am I on. If you're on this side of the line, you acknowledge it, give yourself a little heart hug, wink in the mirror or something, move yourself over, because I'd rather be this. In fact, on the upside, you can write some of the qualities that you know to be true about yourself that maybe you've forgotten about. If when you walk in, you're on the upside of the line, you just like reinforce it and keep on heading where you're going. Now, the cool thing about this, Coral, is that you are seeing your reflection lots during the day. And what will happen is that you do this, you don't have to do it for the rest of your life. Do it for 3, 4, maybe a week, 3, 4 days, maybe a week. Then you can take it down. But what will happen is that your subconscious mind, whenever it sees you, it'll go, where am I? And you'll move yourself to the upside. That's called minding your vibration.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, yeah, thank you.
Great question. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Robbie. Nice to see you.
Suze, my notes from one of the talks that I participated in that you led says it all exists around us. All I have to do is tune into it, right? Which is the minding the vibration. Like, in Landmark, Treya Clausen recently said, there's money flowing all around you. All you got to do is tune into it.
Yeah.
That's the vibrational piece. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember Bob Proctor saying at one of his talks that he said to his wife, you only have to go find 3 people who want to be millionaires. That shouldn't be that hard. Which is, building her practice, right? It was a multi-level marketing company. And he was just like, that's all I have to do. Go find 3 people who want to be millionaires and who are committed to doing what it takes, as long as it's fun, as long as it's in alignment with who you are. If you're doing something that's not who you are, that's like the surest way of like draining that energy. And that's why you want to be acknowledging when you're doing things that you would acknowledge other people for. That's going to raise it up. But yeah, absolutely, it's all there. You just need to tune in. I mean, if somebody had told me, to be, completely transparent, if somebody had told me when I was at, that deep, dark night of the soul in my early 30s, that I was going to have like an amazing partner that was like even better than I could have imagined, a business that I love, the freedom to do what I want to do, where I want to do it, with whom I want to do it, that I was going to have this lifestyle, I would have just laughed at it because I couldn't see it. But I began to just go, how do I want to feel? How do I want to feel? And then things start opening up and opportunities happen. You go, yeah, that would, and then the pathway moves you.
So Suze, in the last few minutes, share with people the larger arena, because I know at times when I bump up against the same thing, right? I've made myself wrong or been hard on myself. So the inner critic has owned the conversations, as opposed to thinking, okay, I'm playing in a bigger arena.
Yeah.
So will you quickly share that with our guests so that, if they bump up against the same thing, it isn't because it wasn't resolved.
Exactly. And I'm just looking, I've drawn this so many times. I'm just imagining I probably have one of them sitting on my desk.
Yeah, I do. I have one here too, Suze, I think.
Do you have one there that you can show? I've drawn it a bazillion times. I can draw it again, but okay. So actually, just draw a spiral. Okay. So just imagine a spiral. So if you think about when you were born, you're at the beginning of the spiral, and that spiral is your life. Okay. And you showed up within your suitcase life lessons, things that you wanted to resolve this time around. That's my belief. You don't have to share it, but it's a way of explaining how come it shows up. So what happens is that you bump up against one of those life lessons. You resolve it, okay, and you keep on your pathway, and then you bump up against, and you go, I did this one already. No, you did it like at a grade 2 level, and now you're at a grade 4 level. And you've got all of this experience and life experience. And then you resolve that, and then you come around again, and you get bump up against it again. So like Trudy says, it's a bigger playing field. So
I'll use my business as an example, right, Suze?
Sorry?
So like use my business. Like I, a couple months ago, declared myself $1 million producer.
Yeah.
Inside of that new arena, I most likely will bump up against some of the core things because that's a whole bigger, larger arena.
Yeah. And
that's what we're talking about. Yeah. And I see that you're drawing it furiously and we have 2 minutes left.
Okay. So you come along and you bump up against, and then as you move through your life and you have more experiences and you come up to a new thing. So I remember walking you through the Deserving Worthy when you got yourself a new car in your business.
Yep.
You're like, what? I'm like, it's okay. Right. And now you're declaring yourself that multi-million. Now, here's another little drawing that may help a little bit. These are neural pathways in your brain, cross section of it. This is the old pathway. It's been traveled a lot. Okay. It's very deep. Doesn't have a lot of surface area, doesn't show up very often, and is not all that fat, but it's there. This is your new feeling, your new belief that you can, that you're worthy, that you're deserving. Has a lot of surface area, shows up a lot, but isn't all that deep. Something comes along down here, there is no neural pathway, and your brain has to figure it out. So it's going to go to the old pathway. When it goes to that old pathway and you go, I am a loser, I can't believe, then you're going to deepen that old pathway. But if you go, oh, this is so last year, this isn't me anymore, I've grown and learned and I've become this, then that's going to deepen that to that level of stress. Does that make sense?
Yes. And on that note, Suze, I love you. Thank you for contributing to me and my family and to my community and to the clients that I serve, because it is through my work with you that I am better for them and for the world. Suze's website is in the chat. You want something and you're in your own way, call Suze. Okay. Happy Family Day, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Take care. Thank you so much, Trudy, for inviting me.
Thank you, Suze.